Hello, hello, hello. It's PC Brooch here. Today is Wednesday, the 3rd of February, and this is the Early Years and Key Stage 1 Learning Journey. Well, actually it's just Miss Brooch, and that was my terrible impression of a police detective. But I'm really finding that I'm getting really into character here. I'm really enjoying this challenge. Finding it quite inspiring. Are you? Have you got any closer? Have you come up with any fantastic ideas or got any closer to discovering the truth behind what happened last Tuesday? Let's carry on and see what we can find out today. Before we go on, we're going to have another quick look at our gateway of explorers, and this is a way for us to reflect and test how we are sort of moving on as learners. Yesterday we looked at choosing something challenging, so making sure that what we go for when we're choosing our traffic light challenge is actually going to be that next step further for us. And we also thought about what we're enjoying, what we're finding inspiring about this particular challenge. What does that tell us about ourselves? Today I want us to think about how we're achieving our goals. So we would have set our bar, decided where we want to be aiming for yesterday. How have we actually managed to achieve that goal? And another way that we're going to be expressing ourselves as positive learners is by thinking about how we can share our ideas with others and share what we've achieved. Now, a really good opportunity for that will be today in our Zoom conference at 1:30. So I will be sending out a link on Class Dojo for a Zoom meetup. That's an open invite to anybody who'd like to join us and talk us through what you've been doing and the kind of questions that you've been asking and the kind of thoughts that you've been having about the clues that we've looked at so far with anyone else who wants to come and join us. It's a really, really good chance for us all to really put our heads together and come together and build some fantastic ideas. Just want to have a quick look here because this is going to talk us through some key aspects of this particular learning journey. It's all about finding an answer, okay? So we're really using those detective skills that we talked about yesterday. In order to achieve your goal, your learning goal, you're going to need to decide what it is that you're going to do and how you're going to go about your investigation. We did this yesterday as well. We asked questions. Asking lots of questions is really important. It's a really important skill as a detective, as an explorer, and as a learner. We're going to go ahead and suggest some answers. This is the bit that we're going to be focusing on today. So you start with the questions, you could suggest some answers, and then that will give you a path that you can explore further to see if you can find any evidence or clues that would back up that idea or that answer. It's really important when we're talking about our answers to other people to be able to explain why I think what I do. So not just say, I think that the last Tuesday we had a visit from aliens from outer space. Well, why do we think that? What are the clues and evidence that we have that would suggest that the strange sightings around Totnes were from aliens and not something else? And also really important is to be able to clearly share my ideas and also listen to the ideas of others. Why do you think it's important not just to share your own ideas, but also listen to the ideas of others? Yeah, it's really important for us to use our collective thinking. That means putting our heads together and working as a team in order to come up with some really great ideas, because someone might have thought of something that you haven't thought of, and you might have come up with a really brilliant idea that somebody else hadn't really considered. So if we put our heads together, then we can think of all the angles and come up with all sorts of ideas. Okay, let's have a quick reminder of our learning question. Does anyone remember? What is our learning question this week? Well done if you asked the question, what happened last Tuesday at around 8 p.m? That's the heart of our investigation. We're trying to solve the mystery of what happened last Tuesday. Well, we're going to expand that question a little bit today. So instead of just saying what happened last Tuesday at around 8 p.m, today I want you to be taking the next step on from questioning, and we're going to do something called making a prediction. It says, what do you predict happened last Tuesday around 8 p.m? Now, is there a new word, or is there a word in there? Oh, I'm going to get my highlighter so I can highlight it for us. Is there a word in there that you think, that's kind of a new word, or I'm not quite sure what that word means? Well, if you spotted this word, then you wouldn't be too far off, because this might be a new word for some of us. Predict. What does predict mean? Well, to predict something is to have a really, really good guess. And your guess isn't just something that first thing that pops into your head. A really good prediction would be based on some kind of clue or some kind of fact. You may have made a prediction in a science experiment or investigation that we've done earlier in the year, or maybe even last year if you're an OAK class. You may have tested something out, and before you did your test you would have made a prediction. What do you think is going to happen based on what you know about the experiment that you're doing? Well, it's the same kind of thing with this kind of prediction. You need to have some kind of evidence or some kind of clues to give you the ideas in the first place. So what sort of questions will help us to make our prediction? What could have happened last Tuesday at around 8 p.m? What could have happened? What do we know, and what does that lead us to think? What makes you think this could be true? So that's about giving your evidence and talking about what clues you have. And then finally, we talked about this in our gateway, how will you share this information? It's really important that we're able to really clearly share our ideas and also talk about what gave us those ideas with other people so that we can put our heads together and work as a team. Okay, so we have a specific learning objective today. Your learning objective today is it says, I can use what I know to make a prediction. There's that word again, prediction. There we go. Okay, so it's about making a really good guess, a sensible guess, not just something that's a bit crazy and comes from nowhere. Now there are again 3 parts to this challenge, a green, an amber and a red. I'm going to share the learning objective success criteria with you now, and then what you can actually do is once you've selected which colour you're going to go for, you can skip ahead in this video and just watch the input for that particular section. So if you find it helpful, you can watch the video all the way to the end, but if you'd rather, you can actually just skip ahead to the relevant colour, and I'll talk you through what the activity actually is, the task is. Here we go. So so if you're going to go in the green camp today, you're going to go for the green challenge. Your success criteria is, I can explain what I think happened last Tuesday at 8 p.m. So by now you probably have got some pretty good ideas, having had a really good look at the evidence and a really good talk with those grown-ups that you have at home, and have some ideas about what you think might have happened. Now it's just an explaining activity, so the focus here is really going to be on clearly expressing yourself verbally, so it's a speaking activity. The next step will be the amber challenge. I can share my prediction and explain why I think this is. So the next step here is really focusing on this word, why. So it's all about not just saying what you think happened, but using the evidence and the clues to back up your answer. And then finally, if you're going for the red challenge, it says, I can organise my ideas using a KWL grid. A KWL grid. Now, don't worry if you're a bit confused, not quite sure what that is. You actually looked at one of those last week with the Baboon on the Moon challenge with Miss Lyons. We're going to be using a slightly different version of the KWL. That stands for what I know, what I want to know, and what I've learnt. We're going to use a slightly different variation of the grid today for the red challenge. And also the next bit will be again to share this information or these ideas with someone. So that could be with someone at home. Maybe there's someone who hasn't really been doing the investigation with you that you could share it with. Maybe you could even contact a friend or family member on Zoom, or even better, you could call in with us today and check in with us at 1:30 and share your ideas on our live Zoom chat. Now it's up to you if you'd like to carry on watching this video all the way through, or if you'd rather skip ahead to the relevant part, the green, amber or red explanation that I'm just going to go on to now. Okay, so I'm just going to skip over to the green, but if you'd like to go to amber or red, fast forward. So those of you who are doing the green task, your challenge is to explain what I think happened last Tuesday at 8 p.m. Now this young detective has been doing some investigating, and he has found a key word that's going to be really important in helping him to explain what he thinks happened using the evidence that he's come up with. So I'm going to get my pen because I'm going to have a go at doing my dots and dashes with my Fred sounds to help me work out what this word is. Can you help me here? It goes like this. What's this one here? Do you recognise this sound? That's a sound, isn't it? Those two letters together make ink. Well done. Let's go back over that again. Ink. Ink. Think. That's right. Think is our very important word today. Now over here I have written some STEM sentences that will get you started in sharing your ideas in a really clear way. So why don't we try a my turn, your turn. I'll read the sentence, but I won't obviously fill in, there's a missing bit, it's just to get you started. So we'll do my turn, your turn, we'll just repeat the STEM sentences, and then what you might want to do is pause the video here, look back over the evidence and the activities that we've done in the last couple of days and fill in the missing bits. Okay, here we go. It says, I think that that. I think that. My turn, your turn. I think that. Well done. So what you would do is fill in the missing bit. What do you think happened? Okay, this is another thing that you could, another sentence that you could use to share some of your brilliant ideas. It is not. This is a big word, ready? Possible. This is a silent E here. Possible. At that. Let's go back to the beginning and I'll put that all together for you. It is not possible that. It is not possible that. Your turn. Well done. So think about something that definitely didn't happen. So the example that I gave earlier was aliens from outer space. I personally don't think it's possible that it was aliens from outer space. But why? Why don't I think that that was possible? That is not a possibility. Have a think about something that you think it's not possible that could have happened. And I have made a mistake. I've put not possible twice. What would the other option be? If something's not possible, the opposite would be something that is possible. So I'm going to take this word out. Here we go. Let's try that again. It is possible. Do you recognise that word from above up here? It is possible at that. It is possible that. So now you can give your idea of what you think could have happened. You could even extend that thinking with a reason why you think that's possible. Okay, and that's your task for today. It would be really brilliant if you could prepare a few things to say and join us later, or you could upload a little video of you sharing your ideas onto Class Dojo. I look forward to hearing your brilliant thoughts a bit later on. Well done if you've chosen the green task. That's all for you. You can stop the video here. Bye. Okay, hello, and thank you for joining us for the amber task. I'm going to talk you through some of our STEM sentences and also some really important key words that will help you in sharing your brilliant ideas. So your task is your learning objective, says, I can share my prediction, remember that's my very good guess, and explain why I think this is. Explain why I think that this has happened. Let's have a look at some really important key words. Here we go. Think. So really important word to use in your sentences will be the word think. This is a tricky word to read, but I'm going to talk you through it. This k at the beginning here is shh. It's a silent letter. It doesn't make any noise and it sits with the n. So we put those two together. They make the n sound. And this sound here, some of you might have seen before, but some of you might not have seen it as O, blow the snow. Do you recognise that as blow the snow? Let's put them together now. N-O, no. So we've got the word think and the word no. Now this is also a tricky word. I'll talk you through it bit by bit. N-O, t-I. And then when we put a curly k and then an e on the end, it changes it from a k sound to a s. Yeah, that's right. So it's a bit tricky. Let's read this one. This also looks like it could be an o, but in this word it's actually an o. N-O-T-I-S. Notice. What do you notice in your investigation? That's a really good word to use. Okay, and our final word down here, you would have hopefully come across this word lots of times before in your writing. It's the word because, and this is a red word. Yes, that's right, because lots of these naughty sounds are not behaving themselves in this word, so we have to learn this word rather than being able to sound it out like we have with the words above. Because it's a word that you'll use quite a lot in your writing, and we just need to learn how it's spelled and learn to recognise it as a red word. So these are some of the words that are going to be really useful for you, that you're going to be able to use in your STEM sentences, which I'm going to give you now. A STEM sentence is just the beginning bit of a sentence that you then can go ahead and finish in order to give your ideas some structure. Let's have a look at some of the STEM sentences that I've prepared for you. So you could start by saying, when you're making your prediction, I think that, and then you would go ahead and give your prediction. So where these dots are, you would actually carry on with your writing. I think that aliens came to visit from the sky. Or maybe that's not such a great idea, I don't know. You might also want to start your writing with, it is not possible that. It is not possible. So have you got any ideas, perhaps the example that I just gave about aliens coming from the sky, that it's not possible that that could have happened, that there's no clues that suggest that, so it's a bit of a bonkers suggestion. Any ideas that you can think of? The next one here, I realise I've made a mistake. I've written the word not again. It is not possible. So I don't want to say that again. But what I wanted to actually think of was the opposite. So if something's not possible, something that is possible would be the opposite. So the next sentence could be, it is possible that. So you might want to use that as the beginning of one of your sentences that would suggest something that could have happened based on the clues that you have. Here I have the starter sentence that I have noticed that. So again, that's talking about those detective skills that you've been using to notice some really important things that have been going on. I have noticed that. And then finally, we're going to use that very important word because, which is going to explain the reasons why and really get to the heart of this bit up here. I can explain why using because. I think that, or I think such and such and such and such because. Okay, so what you can do now is you can go ahead and pause the video here, and you can use these sentence starters as a beginning point for the sentences that you are going to record that explain your ideas. Now, you can go ahead and get your notepad and pen if you like, and you could record your ideas and your sentences by writing them down. Or if you're feeling maybe like having a different approach today, you could actually just talk your ideas through with a grown-up at home and then ask them to record you in a little video, and you could upload your videos onto Class Dojo. So I'm going to leave it up to you today to decide if you're going to record your ideas using your lovely handwriting, thinking about your handwriting targets, or if you're going to just think of some really brilliant ideas and share them, because that's the main target, is sharing your ideas by just talking them through, doing them verbally. Okay, well done. If you've chosen the Amber Challenge, your bit is finished. So I'm going to go on to talk about the Red Challenge next, so you can actually stop the video here and get going with your task. Don't forget that there is a live Zoom at 1:30 today, so hopefully I'll see you there. Well done, detectives. Bye-bye. Hello and welcome to the Red Challenge section. Now you've got the trickiest, most challenging learning objective today. Let's just double check what it is. It says I can organise my ideas using a KWL grid. What I know, what I want to know, and what I have learned. KWL. And I can share this with someone. So I've written a note up here for myself. It says change this to know, think and why. So actually when I said that there was going to be a little bit of a change to the KWL grid, this is what I meant. So what I know, that's going to be quite important to reflect on the evidence so far. But instead of what I want to know, we're going to change this bit here to what I think happened. You could even put, because this is going to be where you put your prediction, your details of your prediction. And then finally, instead of what I have learnt, we're actually going to put what I, or why I think this. Okay, why I think this. So I'm going to give you an example of actually just a really bit of a bonkers explanation. This is your evidence here, and the thing that I'm going to give you an example of is going to be one that I don't really have very much evidence for, but it's just to get you started, to show you how to use the grid. So you can copy this kind of grid down into your notebook or onto a piece of paper. It doesn't have to be from a worksheet. You can just copy these headings down. You might want to pause the video now and go ahead and draw your table. Okay, so here I'm going to give my examples. So what I know that there were, oh, my cursor isn't working, here we go, ghostly floating figures. These were reported, do you remember, by the old lady that was taking her dog for a walk. There were ghostly floating figures floating by. I know that frogs were found. in trees. I also know that there were lots of wet leaves everywhere. Ooh, I'll put that into my box there. Okay, so there's just a few examples of some things that I know. What I think happened, well, I'm going to go with that bonkers example that I gave earlier. I think that aliens from outer space came down to Totnes and let's see, oh, there was leaves everywhere, so what about the leaves? Came down to Totnes and something's not working there, and had a leaf fight. That's why there was leaves everywhere. There we go. I've just made that up now. I don't have very much evidence for this, so I'm going to find this next bit quite tricky. Why I think this is, I think this because, that's how I'm going to start my sentence. I think this because there were floating things and leaves were found all over the place. Now, there we go. So I've given my prediction, or cited my evidence, given my prediction, and given an example of why I think this. Now the problem with my prediction is that actually there's lots of things that I've missed out there. For example, I haven't really talked about or thought about why frogs were found in the trees. What was going on there? And I also haven't thought about the washing that went missing on the washing line. That's another clue. There might be a few other things that you've picked up along the way that doesn't quite fit this particular prediction. But it certainly gives you an idea of how you might want to note down your particular prediction. And then once you've done this, you can actually use this grid as an example or a record of your ideas, so that when you're explaining or sharing your ideas to someone, you can look back and read what you've written to remind you what you want to say. Now you can actually go ahead and upload a copy of a picture of your grid up onto Class Dojo, or even better, you could take a video of you explaining your ideas and your predictions and share a video on Class Dojo instead. Okay, well done detectives, and I hope that you've enjoyed the work we've done so far. I look forward to solving the mystery with you later in the week. Take care everyone, bye bye.